Hi, I'm Lauren Davis. I'm an assistant professor of curriculum and instruction at Montana State University, and we're here today to talk about a recent study that I just finished up in a neighboring county with anxiety and high school students and a trauma-informed yoga intervention. So, they say research becomes me-search. So when I moved from North Carolina to Virginia at my last institution, I was going through quite a bit of life stress and life changes, and it was recommended to me by a friend, I should try yoga. And I thought, well, that's frou-frou, new agey stuff, that's not my deal. But I made her a promise that I would try one class. And so I went and I tried this little local yoga studio in southwestern Virginia, and I remember leaving going, I feel better. And I couldn't really explain why I felt better, but I just knew that I did. So from there, I started having conversations with my division head at my former institution, who also happened to be a yoga instructor. And we both kind of realized that we had this common passion for how can we help our students that are experiencing stress and anxiety and traumatizing situations at home, how can we help support their mental and emotional health at school, and then also hopefully help improve their academic achievement at the same time. So we did some research, obviously, and we came up with the idea of, well, let's try an in-school yoga program and see what happens. So we did a little pilot study with a large fourth grade class in southwestern Virginia, where we incorporated a trauma-informed yoga intervention into their PE class. And fourth graders are wiggly, and so some of them didn't quite understand what we were doing or why we were doing it, but by the end of the study, we had such hugely positive results for their academic behaviors, their emotional behaviors. Teachers reported positive changes, parents reported positive changes, and the kids, when we were done, they were actually saying things like, wait, there's no more yoga? Are we done? Can we not do a few more weeks? And we thought, maybe we're on to something here. So fast forward, I move out to Montana, and I move over to Livingston, and I start to get to know the community over there and think, well, this could be a really cool place to give it a try. And the more I learn about the community, the more I realize it has the highest suicide rate in the state, and that Montana has the highest suicide rate in the country. And I thought, well, gee, this seems kind of serendipitous that I'm ending up here, and that this is kind of what I want to do. So I started having some conversations with the school district, and we came up with a mutual idea of some instrumentation that they wanted to use with their high school kids. And so it was really a collaborative effort of us figuring out how we can best support the high school students in Park County, while also simultaneously giving us some data to work with to potentially have some larger funding. So I was able to secure a small grant through the CARE program on campus, which is an NIH funded center. And so this past spring, we did our initial larger pilot study where we incorporated trauma-informed yoga into a strength training class. And you can imagine that the high schoolers were pretty, we'll say, unexcited about doing yoga in what they were hoping would be a weight training class. And they did weight training, but twice a week they did trauma-informed yoga with certified yoga teachers. And despite the initial hesitation and frustration and reluctance, we started noticing a change in the students, where they started engaging more with the teacher, they started engaging more with each other. They were writing comments in their notebooks like, I came in here really stressed out because I just had an AP calculus test, and I'm suddenly feeling like I can make it through the rest of the day. And so even just those qualitative comments were reason enough that we were like, okay, we need to keep looking for future funding and keep this going. We are still analyzing some of the data, but overall the findings have been tremendously successful. There were statistically significant decreases between pre and post intervention on the generalized anxiety disorder scale with the students, as well as significantly decreased levels of depression as measured by the Patient Health Questionnaire for Adolescents. And there was also a very significant reduction in student cortisol levels from the pre-intervention to mid-intervention. We were really hoping to get post-intervention cortisol, and sadly / also ironically, the last week of our study, COVID closed the schools, so we were not able to finish it, which was really a bummer. And I was worried that we wouldn't be able to get student post surveys, but I think the fact that we had a huge response rate from the students was indicative of the fact that they wanted to tell us that this helped and it worked. And so after the study was over and we were done collecting data, we still actually offered them Zoom yoga classes that they could keep taking from home, and so students partook in that. And so we have a plan this year of doing a larger study with a control group, and we are planning on incorporating, hopefully, face-to-face yoga classes as well as some Zoom yoga classes, and then we're going to be able to look at the differences on what student preferences are and see if there's any difference in the data between face-to-face yoga and virtually delivered yoga. But one thing that I'm really excited about that we're adding to the data set this year is we were able to incorporate an incentive of giving all of the kids Fitbit Inspire HRs to participate either in the experimental group or the control group. And so that way we're going to be able to take a look at their resting heart rate, see if that changes, look at their sleep cycles and see if their sleep improves. So I'm really excited about increasing the number of dimensions, I guess, that we'll be assessing in this second iteration.